high speeds, high society. Just another glamorous day in the life of your average Formula One driver. But Mark Webber's not your average Formula One driver. And not everything Mark gets up to is quite so glamorous. This winter, before heading back to Jaguar HQ to start testing this season's car, Mark Webber's going to undergo an altogether different kind of test, driving his own body to the limit in a 10-day physical challenge. The venue for which is the wild coastline of Tasmania. Whether Mark's going to be feeling quite this good in 10 days' time is very questionable, but it's not only the desire for a personal challenge that's brought Webber and the other participants out to the wild coastline of Waugh. The challenge will also provide vital support for the children's cancer charities Canteen and Brainwave Australia.
Well, I was looking to raise funds. Obviously, I'll go to a few children's hospitals in Australia and seeing a lot of suffering with obviously the kids and the families themselves. Decided to come up with an initiative which would raise money as well as challenge myself and get people motivated to come and do something.
Webber has inspired other sporting celebrities to join in for shorter sections of the challenge, like former world tennis #1 Pat Rafter, Steve Waugh, Australian Test cricket captain, and Olympic gold medalists Cathy Freeman and James Tomkins. A few hundred miles to the south of the Australian mainland, Tasmania is an island of high mountains and some of the last wilderness areas on the planet. And the Mark Webber Challenge will do almost a whole lap of it. 1,000 kilometres in all, mostly off-road, on mountain bikes, kayaks and on foot, including 100 kilometres of wilderness around the southwest part of the island. It's designed to be tough, and it will be.
It's going to help me. I'm going to come out of this a stronger person. I'm, quite intimidated by the course, but that's I have to be because that's what the challenge is about. No one's going to sponsor me going down to the shop and getting some milk. So we need to do something which is very special.
Participants will take on the challenge in teams of 4, and there are 4 teams here in Waugh for the start. 2 of these teams will cover just the first 4 days of the challenge, itself a journey of more than 400 kilometres. But that's a lot less than half the distance which will be covered by the others, Team Cadbury-Schweppes and Team Webber.
Bernie Shrosbree, obviously. Bernie's a good friend of mine, plus one of the most inspirational guys I've met. Bernie's done a huge amount of things in his life, and I met him when he was working with Renault when I was the test driver, and I've learned a great deal off him ever since. I smell lovely, by the way.
I'm sure you do.
Rowlinson, who's a Formula One journalist for F1 Racing, very fit guy from Wales.
Well, no one told me about leeches, and if they had, I might have thought twice about coming.
Guy Andrews, I don't know Guy that well, but you just got to look at his CV. Phenomenally talented guy. Great that he's an Aussie, that he does so well on the international stage.
Well, I think at the end of the day, the team comradeship and just getting along, working with each other's strengths and weaknesses is really key to getting the best performance out of each other and out of the team as a whole. Some people are saying, we're just going to have a bit of fun and go around and enjoy ourselves and relish in the challenge of just completing the course, and then you'll speak to someone else and they'll say, I think we're going to take off pretty hard tomorrow and get going and put a bit of space between us and the other guys. I'm like, is this a race or is it just a challenge?
Clearly it's a race, and we have our main opposition being Mark's team, and our aim is clearly to come first.
Team Cadbury-Schweppes are made up of 4 Special Operations Group policemen, or SOGs, from the state of Victoria. They're used to tough challenges. It's their job, and they'll be alongside Team Webber for the whole 11 days.
At this stage, we're fairly confident. We've seen a number of other teams there. They're obviously quivering in their boots when they saw us get off the plane.
Even so, the Cadbury-Schweppes boys have got their boots firmly on the floor at the first hill, while Team Webber up ahead have still got bums on seats. They're a fit bunch, and 2 years ago, Webber used the winter break to cycle the length of the British Isles. It's because that wasn't tough enough for him that this challenge was devised, and the first day of it is 130 kilometres from Waugh to Pieman River, with the Team Webber bikes out in front at the start. Of course, it's not officially a race, but if you put a bunch of Aussies on a track together and give them mountain bikes, that's what you get. And the Telstra Deutsche Bank team, here for only the first 4 days of the challenge, are out to put Webber and co through their paces. It soon becomes hard work for one of Mark's teammates.
The Telstra and Deutsche Bank team contain 2 very, very keen cyclists, and I think they were out to prove a little bit of a point. Not in an overt way, but I think to themselves as much as anything, they wanted to put in a good performance on the 4 days that they were there, and they set off pretty damn hard on those mountain bikes on the first day, which had us pumping along very hard. I found that pace difficult to live with.
A push is in order then, Guy Andrews giving his teammates a helping hand. "60 kilometres down already, the final 71 on a road the locals call the road to nowhere, quite accurately as it turns out. Halfway along the road to nowhere, and it's not certain that all of Team Webber will actually get there.
Anton started feeling it a bit earlier on, and the Deutsche Bank Telstra guys started sort of powering off ahead, and I thought, we can't have that. So I rigged up a tow system with some bungee cord that was in the back of Mark's camelback and the back of mine. We tied them together, and Anton basically hung on in his handlebars, and I just towed away. And midway there, they had a bit of a gap on us, and we worked really hard, and they were out of sight actually.
So, all hands on deck, Webber taking his turn to lead the charge while the others tuck into his slipstream.
Big load on the body and also on the mind, so you had to dig deep and push on. Guy did a great job. Guy Andrews, obviously, very strong. Phenomenal in power. A guy like that, I think he towed him for about 50k, 60k. So, to see a few people in the eye, and you can see that they're struggling a bit, and then another, 2 hours later, they're back again. They've just go through a few little phases, so you have to stay very disciplined. So, yeah, but it's a challenge. Let me tell you. I mean, this is not a stroll in the park.
But these guys put the pressure on us, and it's just typical of blokes getting together, and if there's someone in front of you, just go as hard as you get until you catch up. But once we caught up, we all had a little bit of a settle down and rode in together, which was nice.
So after 6 hours of racing to reach the tiny settlement at Pyman River, it's a draw.
Toughed it out. Good work, boys.
Oh, mate. You, big boy.
There was a few times there going, I could be somewhere else, I really could be, but I decided to do it, and it's for the kids, really. That's what it's all about, and that's why we're here. We're not as brave as them, that's for sure. They're brave little kids, so that's why we're going to do it, and raise as much cash as we can, and that's why everyone's, such a great atmosphere. Everyone realises that, and really good spirit within everyone here. So.
The SOG policemen in Team Cadbury Schweppes, despite their pre-start confidence, are bringing up the rear at the moment.
I remember a story my mum told me a long time ago. It was Tortoise and Hare, I think it was called. There's a moral to that somewhere along the line. There's plenty of days to go. Our forte will be down the bottom when we're on foot.
At the moment, it's the Telstra Deutsche Bank boys raising the temperature for Team Webber.
Gee, the sun's pretty warm.
Good that. Here we go. Got mate. Good that.
Rations have been good.
I won't have much rocking tonight.
Had to look at that a few times today.
Day 2 starts with an early morning crossing of the Pyman River. Until what passes for a start gate round here finally drops and Team Webber are off racing again. Of course, if they knew what was coming up, they'd probably save their energy. Day 2 starts with 12Ks on the mountain bikes before changing over to the road models for the next 85. It's a race to change shoes and get on the road again as fast as possible. Just an average day for adventure racer Guy Andrews. A total of 109 kilometres in the saddle and 15 in kayaks to reach Strawn. It's not so easy for Webber. It's the fast pace, not the distance, that's giving him problems.
Just on the inside there. Just a bit of loading. Had a couple of cold starts as well, so cold start straight to the hills.
The men's egos are hitting again. And the thing is, it's a nightmare really. You know, you got stiff, tight muscles, so you're going to pick up little niggles. So there's a few of us there that are paying for that now. So we'll soon loosen off. We've got 85k, haven't we? So see you later.
Team Webber are first away from the changeover, trying to catch the Telstra boys off guard. A plan which fails, leaving just plan B, pedal faster. Remember that officially this isn't a race. Unofficially, however, it's getting even more competitive as Mark Webber and teammate Guy Andrews take on Telstra's David Moffat. Leaving the rest of the riders behind, it's a battle to be the first to the kayaks, many miles of soft sand away from here.
With 8 days to go, you've got to manage the body well, make sure you're in good condition. You know, you're getting sores underneath the crutch, you know, lower back problems, knee problems. You just got to, you know, manage all this so we can see all 10 days out, because that's what it's all about. You know, these competitions, no good winning the first 2, is it? You can't survive the last.
Knees are just sort of singing a bit, but calmed down quite a lot. Then I was, you just got to put it back to your mind, mate. There's lots of things you got to put at the back of your mind on days like this.
Journalist Anthony Rowlinson's getting plenty of material for his story, mainly about how hard it is to keep up with its subject, the team captain.
Well done, Lance, mate. What happened at the back of the pack there?
Oh, just evil.
I was thinking. Yeah.
Oh,
Worst bit yet, that was. Definitely.
don't need to use the legs for a few days, so we might as well bury him and have some fun. Want to go, Webbs? Yeah, mate.
Webber's fast on the pedals, but a novice with the paddles. Fortunately, he can rely on the knowledge of ex-Marine Bernie Shrosbree. The other half of the team have a similar mix of experience.
Oh, I've done a bit in my time, but I think I'm going to have to work hard with Ant. Hasn't done too much, so. And Bernie and Webber are already gone, so I'm going to have to catch up.
But the head start's a great opportunity to finally get the better of the Telstra Deutsche Bank team. There's a choice of routes on this stage, and with sandbanks all around, it's easy to get stuck up a dead end. The two teams have chosen different routes, and while there's clear water between the two teams, Team Webber are soon finding out that there's not enough water underneath them.
Paddling was tough because it's very shallow, the water, so they're sucking the boat down, so we weren't going anywhere. Obviously, and paddles in the sand as well. So we went straight to the middle. We couldn't find any gullies to paddle in, so it sucked a lot of juice out of us.
Telstra guys did it to us again today. We had in the paddle, Telstra Deutsche Bank guys got ahead of us. They took the inside channel and we were out in the shallow water. I think it's just a bloke thing. We all get together and just start seeing how hard we can go. And I guess a little bit of a challenge for us to catch up. So we worked really hard and caught them, and when we caught them, Anton just wanted to keep going.
And keep going they do, all the way to the end of the second day of the challenge, where there's a kayak lesson for the Telstra team, courtesy of the masters of the art in Team Webber.
And then you push with the other side, and driving.
Hold this hand back.
Right, keep this one back, right.
Hand back.
Back.
A plane flight early on day 3 carries the teams over the impassable Gordon River region and deeper into the Tasmanian wilderness. Melaleuca Airport. Landing here isn't for the faint-hearted.
I was laughing, we flew past this bit of dirt here and I went, oh, it's a runway, boys. Then I saw a plane here. Really died.
The challenge continues in kayaks today, and with some new challengers too. Pat Rafter, who'll be joining in for today, and the first day of trekking tomorrow, as well as Kathy Freeman and actor Joel Edgerton, who are here just for today.
Yeah, looking forward to going the other direction.
But one day is quite enough to appreciate what this event is all about.
Oh, it is a challenge. It is a real challenge. It is a grueling test of our mental, physical stamina, endurance. I had a lot of fun. It was an experience I'd definitely do again, and hopefully try and do better next time, and not. I'll try not to strain anything next time.
So, with a few sore muscles, time for Kathy and Joel to brave the runway once again.
Just minding this for the pilot.
Leaving down below the rest of the crew, who are about to set off on the South Coast Walk, the toughest part of the route devised by course planner Tim Saul.
So everybody's done a gear check, sure they've got enough fluid, enough food, proper clothing.
Chocky. Very important.
Look after yourselves and look after each other.
It's all right saying now, but we will have moments. We are going to probably start getting really tired. These next 3 days are quite tough. I mean, you know, we've got 3 lots of roughly 28 Ks, and the first day is reasonable. The second days are very, very hard. Uphill ascent, followed by the last day, which is, people don't realise how hard it is actually coming off of mountain ranges.
Rated as a 5-day trek, they'll aim for just 3.
So, you know, we'll do the same thing. We're going to stick together and keep it all going, you know, and look after these boys. I'm sure they might need a bit of mothering, the old SOG boys at the top there.
I think literally it is a walk in the park. Yeah, quite literally. And as you can see by the worry on Bernie's face, yesterday the pressure of us coming up behind on the boat is clearly playing on his mind, and he'll be looking over his shoulder, if not over in the distance as we're in front.
With a deceptively good track for much of the first day of the walk, there'll be nothing but rocks and jungle a day from now. But David Wolfe's true to his word, racing Team Webber's Guy Andrews step for step, 27 kilometres to the campsite. The rest of the party just struggle to keep their feet dry, and to this end, Pat Rafter's still got the spring in his step that helped make him world #1. A long walk back to the pavilion for Steve Waugh too. He's flown in just for the day and has developed an appreciation of what motivates those doing the whole challenge.
Mate, they're idiots. That's all I can say.
Well, whichever way you look at it, they're idiots with dry feet. This is the Webber method of river crossing. Almost time for Steve and Pat to leave, having helped raise more cash for the event charities.
There's a couple of great causes there. I think if you're in a position of profile, I think you should help out the kids that are disadvantaged and need your help, so it's pretty simple.
Fantastic that they put their time to this sort of thing. I mean, that's what it's all about. And whilst they're clearly unprepared and at the tail end of the field and You know, they're meant to be elite sportsmen, but they're nowhere near up to, you know, us corporate representatives. But, you know, they've done well. They've done fantastic.
Yeah, they're the ones. These are the guys that are doing the challenge. You know, I've come along for 2 days, and it's been hard, but fun. But I know what they've done. I know they would have been hurting today, and I was the one still sitting at the back of the pack while those guys powered off.
That's the man, mate, I tell you.
Had to carry him all day.
4 days in, and the full-time challengers are starting to suffer.
Another wonderful day at the office.
Bernie hurt his knee before the challenge, and he's carrying an injury through the race. But he's a tough guy. He was actually, we got separated a little bit today, but he was right behind us coming in. And
oh man, I thought we had no problems. Actually, the first hour was the worst part. You know, I really started to feel the knee quite aggravated because obviously it's sort of the inside of the knees, and I was really was concerned about 2 hours. I'm thinking, you know, this is not going to be good, but. You know, you're going to have to drag me out of here, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Don't leave him on, I'll burn him off.
Well, no one told me about leeches, and if they had, I might have thought twice about coming. And I had no idea I even had this because the little git just bit me, and I didn't even feel it. And apparently they put some anticoagulant in their bite, which stops you, it stops the blood thickening up, so it just keeps bleeding away, which is great, isn't it? Nature's wonderful.
And Anton's got some blisters on his feet, just not used to covering this sort of distance.
Would you trust this bloke with a knife that close to your knife?
There's about 4 or 5 people with some serious blisters on their feet, and I know tomorrow, you know that's going to be quite hard for them. So we've got to get round these guys now, make sure they're well taped up, all sorted, well fed and watered, and see how we get on with the big uphill tomorrow morning. Does that hurt? It will do.
Having a bit of an understanding of the terrain down this part of the world, I didn't think it was going to be easy. So I think a few people have been caught by surprise. It is definitely a challenge, and it'll be hard to finish this thing in one piece for sure.
Starting with a 1,000-metre climb over the Ironbound Range, the hardest day of the challenge comes just as people are starting to suffer. And the weather's turning against them too. Tasmanian folklore stating that the arrival of the black cockatoo at low altitude means that the weather up on the mountains is turning for the worse. And local folklore seems to be right.
That ascent straight up, yeah, very long, very exposed to the weather. I mean, it was just sleet, you know, the rain was just smashing through there, you know, so yeah, tough part of the walk. And then the descent was even tougher for me. Right knee got a bit of a caning down there, just some of the big steps and slippery logs, and you know, it was like 2.5 hours sort of descending off that, so.
A lot of roots, exposed roots on the way down, and mud and wet, very slippery, so it can be quite dangerous if you're not careful.
Treacherously slippery, so got to keep concentrating.
Yeah, I think the walk was for everybody. It was the toughest part of the challenge, and it's ironic really because it was the bit that looked on paper the easiest thing. I mean, you see 3-day hike, you think, okay, I'll just stick my boots on and I'll just trudge around till I get to the end of it. But it gave no impression of the difficulty of the terrain that we were going through. But then the second day, I think that's when people started to realise what we were sort of letting ourselves in for. So at that point, I sensed we really started to pull together because the descent on the other side of that peak was, you know, pretty awful conditions. Tree roots everywhere and branches and leaves and mud, and you know, you put your foot on what looks like solid ground and your boot just disappears up to your knee and you've got to pull the thing out and you go and then, you know, it just saps your energy and it drains your morale, and you know, by the end of the second day, everybody's just thinking, oh my God, what are we doing here? You know, you pinch yourself, you know, okay, it's hard sometimes when your head's down, you're really tired, but every now and then when you stop and through the tree, I mean, for me, I could not believe that I was more or less descending in like a semi-tropical mountain. The only place I can relate it to is something like Borneo or, you know, that sort of Brunei, that kind of area. And then suddenly you're on the coast. It was just absolutely spectacular, you know, to have that sort of combination. It is, you know, I feel a very privileged individual to be in this part of the world.
You know, it was just such a long day. I mean, 12 hours. It's not like walking around the block for 12 hours. We were like in the middle of, you know, just so insignificant in amongst all that, you know, feral wildlife, you know, it's just terrain amazing, you know, and untouched thousands and thousands of years, and you're sort of walking through it. Amazing.
I'm absolutely shattered. I feel like Lawrence of bloody Arabia after walking on that beach. Oh, look at this, we've got a bloody row now. There's no end to this. No end to the torture.
Halfway through the challenge and a very welcome campsite.
Bring your food in.
I smell lovely, by the way.
I'm sure you do.
Right, I need ice, I need everything. I bet you're a legend.
Team Webber are first into camp again, but half the team's knees are starting to give serious trouble.
Quite a lot of load on the body today, so I'm happy with my feet. My feet are going okay. A bit disappointed just with the knee, but other than that, I feel really good. And each day gets longer and tougher, you know, and that's, you know, if you had a day off, you know, it'd be so much more easy, but you don't. It's just that relentless each day.
You know, every day we're gradually breaking the body down through fatigue, you know, and the idea is you can be doing well right up until the last day, and 3 of you might not make it.
Most feet are starting to look a bit the worse for wear too. Anthony Rowlinson's have become so bad that a paramedic flies in to decide whether Anthony's fit to continue. Medical opinion is that he should pull out, with a harder day to come tomorrow.
It's not difficult. You might think the ironbounds are hard, but not as tall, but there's a lot, still the southeast range there. It's not chicken feed, and there's a lot of boggy sections as well.
I don't want to miss any of it. I mean, if you're
We're just concerned. I mean, it's only just over halfway. And there's still a lot to go. There's a lot to go.
I think the only thing was is if we started as a team, wanted to finish as a team, that's all, unless it's that severe.
I know, but
we want to stay together.
I know you want to stay together.
You know, we can wait for him.
But you could stay together today.
Yeah.
And then we've got 3 days to go, 4 days to go, where he might not be able to participate.
So Team Webber lose a man, as do the SOGs. Tony Langdon forced out with a knee injury.
Really, the decision was taken out of my hands this morning. Even if I said I was going to continue on, they were going to pull me out. I didn't have too much say in it, I don't think. But look, I know Anthony and I are both totally disappointed. I mean, just shattered, really. But tomorrow's another day, and get over it, really. That's about it.
Both teams down to 3 men. But the survivors shouldn't count themselves so lucky. The last 28 kilometres of the walk will be a nightmare for some of them. The nightmare's beginning early at Surprise Bay. The surprise being that the route just disappears into a river.
All the boys were just starting to walk into the water and starting to come up to their chest, freezing water, taking your breath, and you're trying to get across, and and I was still on the side, just sort of like going, yep, this is actually happening. So got all my stuff together, and we went, and just numbingly cold, and then you still got 12 hours ahead of you on the hike.
I think Mark's hurt his knee. On the descents it hurts, but on the flats and uphills he's fine. But there's a lot of really rough downhills, so he's going to make it, but he's a bit uncomfortable. Line of sight.
Soon after Surprise Bay comes Schumacher Bay, a name that's familiar to Mark, of course, and the point at which the Mark Webber Challenge really becomes a challenge for Mark Webber.
Schumacher Bay. We say no more. I said to Bernie coming across, is this Schumacher Bay by any chance? Because he's haunting us, he is, Schumacher. It's right there and then. It's a very angry beach. And the rocks were pain in. Yeah, pain. So anyway, we'll cross it now. Schumacher Bay. Won't forget that in a hurry, will we? Shuey's gone now, he's behind us. Now we've got to go up this little joker.
The little joker he's talking about is the South Cape Range, tougher than the iron bounds of yesterday, after which there'll be another long haul to the end of the trek in Cockle Creek. With every step having to be a careful one, it'll be slow progress. Every team in the challenge has an expert local guide, familiar with the area and the terrain. Team Webber's guide is Tasmanian adventure racer Matt Dalziel.
The South Cape Range was, I guess, the heartbreaker for a couple of guys, and that's when Mark probably showed the, how strong he is and how dedicated to the whole event, because he was only covering 2 kilometres an hour at, on the descent of the South Cape Range. And I was keeping a close eye on the map where we were, and he kept asking me, how far are we? And it'd be something like, it's 3k to go, Mark. And then he'd ask me again, it's 2.7, Mark. You know, it was very slow going.
No, I just want to stand here.
Down to 3 men as well. Team Cadbury Schweppes have had just as tough a day on the South Coast track.
So whoever called that a track has got a very loose grasp on the English language, I can tell you right now. That's not a track, that's for mountain goats and nutbags.
Unbelievable. So, you know, mud up to your knees, you know, and you've got kilometres of it, so it really tests you physically and mentally, but, you know, we won't give up. We'll be okay.
How was it, Manny?
How was it? That was pretty tough, actually. Bloody hard, really hard. Especially that last bit there. I mean, we've still got another 2 hours to go from here, but feeling tired now. It's getting tough.
The end of day 6 and a return to civilization, of sorts. Just as they promised, the SOGs have come through on the walk, though coming home in one piece is now more important than coming home in first place.
Well, you know, like sore feet, sore muscles and all that, that's only temporary, that'll go away, but the memory of an achievement of that sort of magnitude will always last, and that's what it's all about.
Six days in, they're over halfway through the challenge, though not in terms of distance. Hundreds of kilometres of cycling and kayaking are still in front of them.
I said to the guys before we come here that you have your moment of misery, and I had mine on the first day of the hike, and Mark had his today. And
Just the misery. It's the most torturous thing I've done in my life by a long way.
You know, guys are suffering and they're really pulling out the best, and they really are hanging in there by the skin of their teeth, you know, to survive the next 4 days.
Success then for the man who devised this challenge. Tim Saul has taken the participants to the limit of what they're capable of.
You know, they're doing it for the charities that this is supporting. So it's not only their desire to challenge themselves physically, but it's also the realisation they're doing it for someone else. And I think that's what's kept them going. Because people have been out there today and they've been pretty sore, but they haven't wanted to stop. Well, the other thing is they couldn't stop. There was nowhere to get out.
And no way out of the rest of this challenge either. Having spent the last few days watching the ocean, soon it'll be time to go and meet it head on. Day 7, 152 kilometres in the saddle to reach Hobart, capital city of Tasmania.
Bums in pieces, knees in pieces. All the day in the office of challenge. Just got a box on.
With their casualties recovered, both teams are now restored to 4 people, and the hotel beds of Hobart are a welcome luxury. After one night in them, it's on with day 8, with Olympic gold medal rower James Tomkins joining in for the remaining 3 days. Above all, Tomkins is looking forward to the experience of going forwards while afloat.
I'm going to be going the wrong way. I'm always going, it'll be fantastic actually to be in a boat and actually see where you're going. Because I've spent all my life watching where I've been.
After the Mayor of Hobart starts the day, the old competitive spirit comes back with a bit of an unruly racing incident at the start of the kayak stage. Team Cadbury Schweppes escaped the black flag, but Webber's not done yet. A moment of high spirits before getting down to the dirty work of 2 days and 250 kilometres of biking and walking that will take the challenge to Coles Bay, ready for the finish on the Freycinet Peninsula. Just out of Hobart, and James Tomkins' hands are already showing signs of wear and tear, as are the bodies of everyone in the challenge. Just the moment for some inspiration.
Good on him. Well, Daniel's one of the little guys that hopefully we help out every now and again, because Daniel's had two transplants. The second one was successful at the Royal Children's Hospital, so had his first day at kindy the other day. Didn't you, mate?
Yeah.
Good on you.
Kindy?
Is kindy good?
Yes.
Bit of painting?
Yes.
So, good little bit of inspiration for us today, mate, on the big bike ride for us, and yeah, we'll be thinking of him, so. We better get our skates on, okay? Yeah. God, he's a strong little devil.
He's got a great handshake on.
Well, I met Daniel a year and a half ago at the Royal Children's Hospital, and that was his first transplant, which failed. And they removed the liver again the second time around, and he was, they removed the cancer for him. So now he's underway.
We arrived back home in July, and he's just progressed every day. Every day is his challenge, and he just rises to it. He's just, nothing stops him. He gets outside and chases after his brothers, and he's just an inspiration to everybody.
Totally out of the blue, she brought him down, and the boys were touched, and there was a few times on the bike we were talking about that, going, like, how about that? I brought him down, and there was a photo with myself with him quite a while ago, and he was in a horrible state, and that's the reason why, that I thought about trying to do these things. And that's what makes it so sweet, Yeah, he loves his racing, and he's just great. And he said, you know, he thinks it's normal that people have transplants. You know, that's in his world. He thinks everyone has them. So that's the way they're dealing with it. You know, like I said, the kids are so brave, really, really brave. And we're weak. You know, adults are quite weak. You know, when we get ill, we get a runny nose, and everyone knows about it. You know, where kids are really brave and they soldier on.
Longer and steeper. So we've got about 71k. That's all right to go.
Well, this is the hottest we've been for the whole bloody event. It's friggin' stinking. Yeah, the bloody heat's coming off the road and cracking a bead. Oh, the salt's going into my eyes, and thought I had another gear to go, but don't.
By now, the teams have stopped racing and are riding together, helping one another when it gets tough.
Do you want to come to Coles Bay with us?
Nah, not quite that far, no.
We could always swap, but I'm not feeling so generous today.
The 1,000 kilometres are almost up, and the destination now is Cook's Beach on the Freycinet Peninsula and the last campsite.
Actually, my body's been waiting about a week for that.
Half a day's walk from the nearest road. But tonight, it's the semi-final of the Rugby World Cup, and arriving in this dinghy is a vital piece of equipment.
Elton Flatley into scrum half for Larkham, and yes. And Australia going wide early. This is Smith, just outside the 22. The interesting point there, Dan, is that
Day 10 isn't very far by recent standards, but it's a fittingly tough conclusion to the challenge. A rough kayak ride from Cook's Bay, then a climb over Mount Amos to the finish. But first, it's time to put all those newly acquired kayak skills to a real test. Paddling with Guy Andrews means more expert kayak lessons for Webber, but the participants in this challenge have learnt a lot more than how to paddle.
Yeah, it's amazing when you do put people under pressure and take them out of their usual environment into a severe situation where they have to rely on each other. They just gel, like they just come together. It's just the human spirit, human nature that comes out, and it's a fantastic thing. And the common thing that brought us together was helping these kids. And you're feeling a bit sorry for yourself and a bit tired and sore. And I thought, hang on a minute, what's this all about? I can't complain. I'm able to do this physically, and what a fantastic experience. And look at the things and people and friends I have around me. This is what we're doing. If we put a little bit back in for the kids and make a difference, then what a great thing.
just the descent to the finish now, and taking the most direct route. But even at the end of 1,000 kilometres, there's time for one more race between Team Cadbury Schweppes and Team Webber.
John Boy's a nutbag. He's an absolute nutbag. Look at his head come off.
It's just been such a good feeling, and obviously it's all for a good reason. You know, helping the two charities out with Brainwave Australia and Canteen. We've always kept that in the back of our minds, and the challenge has just been very, very difficult. We've had some tough moments. Beautiful, beautiful parts of the world that we saw, and some of the big ocean out the back, some of the views that we've seen. Just amazing, really amazing parts of the world. And you know, we're calling it Planet Amazing. It's a great place to be.